We have been a longtime member of the Chamber and a longtime sponsor of this event. We're very proud to be here. I would like to welcome our three commissioners and thank them for all the hard work that they do for this great county. If we give them a round of applause. If I weren't here today to enjoy this special occasion, I'd be at my day job, which in short is making sure that water leaves Aqua's treatment plants and well stations to make it to all of our nearly 381,000 customer connections in southeastern Pennsylvania. It's an honor for me to be here today and be asked to be part of the program because in addition to being a resident of Chester County, prior to my current position, I spent 5 years running our construction and maintenance operations for our Aqua's Chester County office. So this county means a lot to me, and I consider it a privilege to serve on the Chamber Board and to be able to take part in these events. I don't want to take a lot of your time, but because of the important role I believe Aqua Pennsylvania plays as a corporate partner in the various communities we serve here and in the economic development of the county, I'd like to use the couple of minutes I have been given to share information about Aqua and our operations in Chester County. Aqua Pennsylvania serves a 244 square mile area in Chester County. That area includes roughly 80,000 customer connections, which represents close to 250,000 people served. Chester County is home to our largest water treatment complex, the Pickering Treatment Plants, located in Schuylkill Township. For those of you, if you're driving on Route 23 and you're exiting Valley Forge Park and you're heading towards Phoenixville, that's our large dam on the left, and on the right-hand side is our two treatment plants. The older and larger of the two plants is the Pickering West Plant, which was built around 1898, so we've been serving the county for a very, very long time. The West Plant has a treatment capacity of about 40 million gallons a day, and our newer plant that sits in the back is our East Plant. That has a treatment capacity of about 15 million gallons a day. So together, these plants provide water to residents in about 28 municipalities throughout Chester, Delaware, and Montgomery counties. Chester County also happens to be the home of our only two solar facilities in Pennsylvania. One of the solar farms is at the Pickering facility that I just described, and the other is at our Ingram's Mill water treatment plant in Westchester. We have a little over 1,300 miles of pipe throughout our Chester County service area. Aqua has and continues to invest heavily in infrastructure improvements to ensure that our customers get the quality water and reliable water and wastewater service they deserve. My role in that effort has to do primarily with the water distribution system, so I'm going to share with you the part of that effort which I'm responsible for. From 2014 through 2018, Aqua has spent close to $120 million to make infrastructure improvements in our Chester County water and wastewater systems. Of that amount, $71 million was spent to replace 62 miles of water main. This year, we have plans to spend about $12 million, and that will be replacing 7 miles of new water main, along with a lot of other plant projects. Too often when you look at the news today, there are stories about failing infrastructure across our country. I think you can see from the information I've shared with you today that Aqua Pennsylvania is doing its part to ensure that our infrastructure is replaced or upgraded in a timely fashion. We are making every effort to be part of the solution to the infrastructure challenges that face our water and wastewater industries. You can also see that we are doing our fair share to ensure that our Chester County customers benefit from our efforts. I'd like to thank you for allowing me this time to share some of the Aqua facts, and now I'm going to turn the program back over to Guy. Thank you.
This water presented to you by Aqua. Good morning, everyone. Now, don't get nervous. I'm not going to read everything in the binder. Okay? Before we begin with the questions and the comments, again, many of the questions were submitted to us when you registered or submitted this morning, and we tried to find common areas or common themes. But before we do that, I just want to build on something that our chair, Jim Lee, said at the beginning as we have our commissioners here. A lot of times when you live in a county like ours, we begin to take things for granted. The economy is strong, new companies are opening, existing companies are expanding. The university at Westchester is thriving. We have many other universities, a community college, all with interesting programs. People apply from all around to come to our colleges. They come from all around to work at our businesses. We have wonderful trails. We can watch our kids play soccer, softball, field hockey, lacrosse, you name it. And at the same time, we have this wonderful balance of economy and quality of life. And I think sometimes even at the chamber, where we work every day to try and talk about public policy that will help, you sometimes take it for granted. And you think, you get lulled into the sense that it's like that everywhere. And at the same time, you have elected officials and our commissioners that are working hard as advocates, as spokespeople, as cheerleaders, as planners, in the tradition of folks like we've met earlier today, whether it was Commissioner Baker, Commissioner Hanna, Commissioner Rachel, those folks not only thinking about today but tomorrow, we sometimes take it for granted. And the reality is this is a really special place, and we should never take it for granted, because it is the result of hard work, it is the result of planning, it is the result of teamwork. And not just the commissioners, but the team in the courthouse, and many of you who serve on advisory boards and work in nonprofits, and yes, work to make your businesses and companies successful for your employees and your customers in the region. But as Jim said, we come together today to make sure that we don't take it for granted. Think a little bit about how did we get here, and also think about the future. How do we get from here to where we need to be? How do we make sure that in 2030 and 2040 and 2050, our children and grandchildren will still look at Chester County as the envy of the region, the envy of the state, and one of the best places in the nation to live? That's why we gathered today. But we felt it was important before we start that we think about where we are and not take it for granted, and recognize that the three individuals with us today are a large part of that reason. And if you don't think there's teamwork, can you imagine any other county where the three commissioners could literally sit on top of each other and be so collegial? No, but that's right. So don't laugh too hard. You may leave the stage.
What's your insurance back?
Ask Mike Brown. Are we covered for this? Okay. The good thing is, right when you're at a chamber event, somewhere in the midst of this, that there's an insurance person, a banker, a lawyer, you name it. We're covered. But we are grateful for them. And as we begin our program, I wanted to pause and do one thing. This event is one of many events we do through the year, whether it's on advocacy or networking or professional education, everything from nonprofits to marketing. But those things come about because of not only the financial support, but the time and talent and support given to us by our board of directors. And so often at our events, we go out of our way to make sure that we thank our sponsors and thank their guests, that we sometimes forget our board. So I would ask our board of directors, the men and women who serve, to please stand and ask you to all thank them for the time, treasure, and talent they bring to make the chamber a success. Thank you. So, as I was extolling the virtues of the county and the wonderful place that we call home, several years ago, Commissioner Farrell started to notice and mention in his remarks different awards. We were the third best at this, the number one at that. Of the 4,000 counties in the nation, we had won this award or that award. And over time, you began to take note that on a regular basis, this was happening. And again, it reminded you of what a special place it was, but not only just in the eyes of those of us that were here, but across the nation. People in financial services, people looking at vacations, tourism, quality of life, the economy, we're all doing that. So the first question we have for the commissioners is that over the years, the county has been recognized for its successes. And you can see this in our Chester County Best and our Chester County accomplishments. But I would ask each of you to share a little bit with us about some of the awards or recognitions that we've received, and how you get them there, how you get us to that point, and how you've really taken this idea of teamwork and running the county like a business to get it to this point, not only where we recognize it's great, but so many other third-party organizations have recognized how wonderful it is. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our chair, to Michelle Kickline, to kick things off, to talk about our wonderful county and the accolades we've received.
Okay. Nope. On there. You know what? Let's just pass this over.
I'm obviously not the technology chair. Anyway, thank you so much, Guy, for that wonderful introduction, and thank all of you for coming out this morning. It's really an honor to be in front of you and to see so many of you, because I think you probably know the answer to so many of the questions that Guy raised, that this really truly is a gem of a county and a wonderful place to live. And growing up here and now serving as the chair of the Board of Commissioners, it really has been my privilege for the past 5 years to be in this office. And I guess being the chair, I get to be in the middle, so if either one of these two fall off, I'm still here. So that's my perk today.
Don't push.
Don't push. Anyway, one of the things that I often remark to people when I talk about Chester County government is this is a $500 million business. This is actually serious business. To put it in perspective, as a county commissioner, we are running a government, an entity that is similar to a Fortune 500 company. This is not a one-issue operation. It has multi-facets to it. And we approach our budgeting much like we approach a business, and in that regard, I do want to thank our former COO, Mark Rupsis, who was a Larry Bowling Award winner, for his innovative management approach that really started this trajectory to success. That has been, the mantle has been ably taken over by Bobby Cable. Bobby, if you can stand up, I know you're in here somewhere. And also our Deputy County Administrator, Kara Ron, is she here? Yes. And I don't know if our CFO, Julie Bocammer, she wasn't able to make it, but we really have, see, it took 3 of us because we were adding them up together so they're as tall as Mark. That's kind of why we so, but anyway, we're very pleased. It's been a seamless transition. One of the things that has been really instrumental in this business planning is our 3 AAA bond ratings. We have a triple AAA from Standard & Poor, from Moody's, and from Fitch. We are the only county in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that has that. And frankly, we're one of only a handful in the entire country that has that. And to put it in perspective, it's a higher rating than the United States government, so I think we're doing something well. Anyway, one of the bases of our business practices is that we do value this immensely. And to give you an idea of what that means, I mean, you folks are business people, but we had a bond issuance this year, and we saved the taxpayers $9.5 million because of that triple AAA. And also, just as importantly, like all good businesses, we're only as good as our staff. Besides the folks that I mentioned here, I know there's a few others that are in the room with us. And we focus on the attraction and retention of good employees. We have a number of programs that we've implemented since I've been a commissioner. We have department leadership that is nationally recognized. We have an employee engagement group. And also, I think importantly for the future, all 3 of us have committed to the attraction and retention of millennials. We really feel strongly that county government combines both the aspects of business and service, which we think is really attractive to millennials. And we've been able to get some of the best and the brightest in partnership with our local university, Westchester University. I know our president is here, Dr. Fiorentino, thank you. And I think it's something that we're very aggressively marketing, that this type of job is exactly what millennials are looking for. And with that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Farrell.
Well, good morning. It's great to see so many of you here, so many movers and shakers in the Chester County community. Thank you to the Chamber for having us again this year to let all of you know some of the things that we've been doing. We appreciate the interest in good government and the fact that you turned out on an early morning to hear what we had to say and to bring you up to date from the advancement that we gave to you last year. Chester County does a lot of things that most businesses do not do because most businesses are focused on the bottom line. We do a lot of things that are not bottom line driven but are done because we want to make sure that the citizens, all the citizens in Chester County, have a great place to live and work, raise a family, and retire. But one of the things we do that's similar to every business is that we do plan. And one of our strategic plan priorities focuses on governance. I guess you all know that we have a strategic plan, and there are 6 key points in the strategic plan: health and human services, public safety, the economy, growth, preservation, and the environment, financial management, and governance. And under governance, we strive to be excellent through exceptional customer service, transparency, accountability, and innovation. And through our strategic planning process, we develop Managing for Results, MFR, a program that makes us, Chester County government, more accountable and transparent. And one way that you can see this transparency is in a third-party vendor that we have partnered with called OpenGov. And if you go to our website and type in OpenGov, just as one word, Open, G-O-V, it'll take to a website where all of our budget information is organized, and you can pull it down in any fashion you want, whether it's a pie chart or a bar graph, and you can have a report, a business report, about what we're doing in Chester County government. We also provide quarterly financial reports at our public meetings, so if you want to come and see what we're doing, you can do that. Also, you can see all of our public meetings online. They're archived. We, as an effort to be transparent, we videotape our county meetings, and they're archived. So if you can't sleep at night about 12 o'clock, just log on to chesco.org and you can fall asleep. We assure accountability through the development of county department goals that have measured results, such as the number of 911 calls people respond to and the time that it takes for our emergency service folks to dispatch those calls, measure the increase in public affordable housing, the increase in companies engaged with county workforce programs. And we also focus on customer service and innovation. Because of this, we've been recognized for the past several years by our national association as a top 10 digital county. And our website, our highly interactive and responsive website, last year had 1 million visitors and 6 million page views. And we've made a commitment to our Spanish-speaking residents by undergoing professional translation of our web pages into Spanish, and this is an ongoing effort. We've also developed a number of award-winning programs, which I think Kathy will address. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. There we go. Is somebody in the back like turning these on and off, or are we really turning them on and off? Well, I too want to thank all of you for being here this morning to have this conversation with us. I want to thank Guy and the Chamber, the board of directors, and all the members for all the good work that you do in our community. You know, we enjoy the opportunity to be out in the community and talk about the good work of the county. We still get questioned, and after 12 years, I still get questions. What does the commissioner do, and what does the county do? So I hope that some of the stuff you'll learn here today, you'll take out into your regular lives and share with some of the people in your circle. But when you think about, you know, maybe what kind of business is the county, I would say, I guess it's a business that cares about our citizens and about our employees. And the business practices that we put in place have really helped us be able to maintain the quality of those programs and services that we provide. For example, we have a pretty significant fund balance, which is not only good government, it's also required, but within that we also have a rainy day fund of about 2 months worth of expenses. That comes in handy in times when, like, I don't know, the state doesn't pass a budget. So not that we're suggesting that that continue to happen, but the reality is that the last time that happened, the county was able to front somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 million or more to make sure that we could continue to keep those services in place, particularly for the most vulnerable people in our communities. And our ability then to be able to invest in unique programs that, as Guy said, and as Terrence alluded to, are award-winning, is there for us. So let's talk about the WRAP program, which is the Women's Reentry Assessment Program. It's a program designed to help women involved in the criminal justice system reach their full potential and help them stay out of jail and in the community, being productive members of society. That's a nationally recognized program. One of the awards it received was the Harvard Business School John F. Kennedy Excellence in Government Award for that program. Pardon me. We talk about WalkWorks Chesco, which is our initiative to get everybody in Chester County up and walking in association with the NACO National Healthy Cities and Counties Challenge, where we were a national finalist. And we are at about 4.6 billion steps. So come on, people, only a few 100,000 more to go till we get to our 5 billion. So we've been recognized nationally for that. We have have a partnership with Ben Franklin Technology Partners, where we've committed $2 million to invest in startup tech companies here in Chester County. And we have the ability to make those investments because of the good business practices that we put into place, particularly when it comes to our finances.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So being a chamber, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you to comment a little bit about our economy and some of the things that you're working on from the county level to try and help this economy continue to grow and thrive and begin to be diverse. I will tell you, one of the other things you notice is that when you travel around the country, as I get the opportunity to do with this job, is you see and compare with my counterparts around the country, not only is this economy strong, but it's very, very diverse. There aren't a lot of other places where you can have agriculture, biopharma, high tech, and all the financial services that go with it. So we're very blessed in that. So if you would, I'm going to ask Michelle to start, but if you would discuss some of the things that you're doing to try and help keep that economy humming along.
Sure, thank you, Guy. As you mentioned, it is a diverse economy. One of the things that, besides IT, biopharma that you mentioned, and financial services, I do always want to highlight that agriculture still is our largest aggregate business in Chester County. So, it's one of those things that as a county commissioner, especially one that grew up in the eastern part of the county, serving a large county and traveling around, you realize that we really do have a unique and varied business structure here. We can't ignore that. And just to give you an overview, there are 13,000 businesses in Chester County. That's a lot, big and small. And that's something I think the Chamber has been very good about reaching out to, not just large visible businesses, but some of it, incubating and assisting the smaller businesses as well. The last time we measured the GDP in the county officially was 2015, so a few years ago, but still close. And at that point, it was a $40 billion GDP. That is the largest in the country, the largest GDP for a county in the country. That's enormous. And that's larger than many small countries in the world. So this is something that, it's very important for all of us to continue to nurture this environment. And just to give you an idea that this is not stagnating. In 3 years, when they were measuring that, from 2012 to 2015, there was a $2 billion increase. So, seeing all the growth that's going as the economy is so robust now, I'm sure the next time we measure it, we'll see even greater gains. And specifically your question about how we focus on attracting and retaining the businesses in Chester County. As many of you know, was literally the year that I started. We had kicked off Vista 2025. I am the public sector co-chair, and my colleagues and I also chair some subcommittees. As those subcommittees, there's 5. Infrastructure, I'm one of the co-chairs for that, as well as something called Quality of Place. I'm also the co-chair for that. And we have industry clusters, which Mr. Rups has started, and now Mr. Cable is chairing. Innovation and technology, which clearly I can't even turn on that thing, so I'm not chairing that. That's Terrence. And Kathy is the chair of the workforce development. So these are 5 really pillars for the future of economic development in Chester County. And one of the things, just to give you guys an idea, since you're all business people, one of the innovations that we started, and it's something that I think has been very successful, is we focused on the fact that just like a business, Chester County has to market itself. And we felt that we were not doing as good of a job of selling all these wonderful things that we talk about in events like this. So we started a program called Discover Chesco, and that's been very successful. It's targeting. We have some marketing materials. You'll see some brochures on your table. We're making this available to businesses, to realtors, to anybody that's interested in bringing businesses as well as future residents to Chester County. So with that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Farrell.
Well, one critical piece of maintaining and growing our economy is a long-term focus on growing the next generation of Chester County companies. Not too long ago, the U.S. Economic Development Administration commissioned an analysis of all the counties in the country in terms of their potential for innovation. And not surprisingly, Chester County had the highest index in Pennsylvania and one of the highest in the country. The key for us is to turn this potential for innovation into new growing companies that will employ the current and future residents of the county. So you might ask, how are we doing? As Marcel said, this all starts with planning, and I guess planning will be a theme that runs throughout our presentation this morning. We do a lot of planning in many different areas. And Vista 2025 put forth a strong vision of how to build an innovation culture here in the county that includes access to the right kind of physical environments, the access to non-financial assistance, access to capital, with an emphasis on access to capital. Knowing that access to capital is critical and not being Silicon Valley, we knew we needed to be more focused and intentional about making early stage capital available. To that end, and you probably have all heard, the county partnered with Ben Franklin Technology Partners to establish Venture Chesco, which Kathy mentioned a few minutes ago. Venture Chesco is a venture capital fund focused on supporting Chester County technology-based companies. We put up $2 million in pledge, and $2 million comes from Ben Franklin. So we have a potential pool of $4 million to fund the growth of many new county technology companies. To date, we've invested in 4 county companies, and we look forward to investing in many more as they emerge from Ben Franklin's rigorous analysis and vetting. In addition, the county has partnered with the Chester County Economic Development Council, and I'm glad to see a couple of representatives today here from the council, including Gary Smith and Mary Frances McGarity. Thank you for your support and your partnership with the county. But we have partnered with them in their I2N initiative, which is Ideas Times Innovation Network, to improve access to significant other financial resources like tax credits and technology development grants and non-financial resources like mentoring and connections. And through these efforts, we are building a true entrepreneurial ecosystem that will allow Chester County to stand out as a place to start and grow a company. You never know, but the next Vanguard or QVC founder could be sitting right next to you today. Kathy?
Everybody, look next. All right, I give up. My screen and it's on. Oh, there we go. I think it needs a little while to wake up once you turn it on. Anyway, so I started to say, did you all look next to each other and see what the next great business is? So as we talk about the economy, we obviously can't continue to be a successful economy unless we have the talent, the workforce talent in our community. We have to be able to make sure that we're growing talent, we're keeping talent, and that people have the skills to work for the employers who are in our community and who are coming to our community. The DVRPC estimated that between 2015 and 2045, Chester County will add 88,000 jobs. That's a pretty sizable number. And so we have to make sure we're doing everything we can to make sure that we have people in our community who can fill those jobs. So as Michelle mentioned, I'm the co-chair, the public sector co-chair of our Vista 2025 goal team having to do with workforce talent, make sure we're attracting it, growing it, and keeping it here in our community. And we've, together with the Workforce Investment Board, with our partners at the Economic Development Council, with our education partners, and with our nonprofit partners, have worked on a lot of programs that will help us train and to retrain our employees who are currently in the workforce, to provide opportunities for people who are unemployed and who are underemployed, and also to make sure that we're sharing with our students, the workers of tomorrow, there are a multitude of pathways to success in the world. And that may be through a trade certificate, it may be through post-secondary education, it may be through on-the-job training. And so we're working very closely together to make sure that our students, whether they be in middle school, high school, or college, understand that there are a lot of opportunities that we can present to them. With the state funding that came through for our industry partnerships this year was just under $1 million. And so those partnerships in the sectors of IT, healthcare, manufacturing, and energy are also critical to the work that we're doing to make sure that we can continue the programs that we have. Programs like Platform to Employment, which I know I've talked with you all about before, and Hire One, and our partnership with the United Way and the Career Link and the Financial Stability Center, as well as making sure our employers understand what funding opportunities are available to them, to all of you in the room, relative to incumbent worker training, which basically then leads the way to open up positions for other people to get the skills that they need to have entry into your organizations. So we have a great focus on workforce development. We understand how important it is to our continued economic growth. And our partnership with all of you in this room is incredibly important to make sure that we continue to have positive results in those areas.
Thank you. So even at a chamber event, we want to pause for a moment because while we've all talked about the wonderful economy and the wonderful opportunities and for today and tomorrow, we do recognize that there are still those individuals who are looking for employment or who have not yet achieved economic success for them and their families. And you may know, for those of you here in the audience, that one of the largest parts of the county budget is human services and health. I was going to ask the commissioners to talk a little bit about what they do through their offices and their staff and team to try and look out for those more vulnerable members of our community, and also has been alluded to talking about trying to keep us to be a healthy county. So with that, I'm going to ask Kathy to start with this one, talk a little bit about what the county does in those areas.
Thank you. Oh man, I think I'm just going to keep this thing on from now on. There we go. Thank you, Guy. So Health and Human Services isn't just a large part of our budget. It's actually at about $266 million, about half of our budget. And that provides funding for our departments of children, youth, and families, mental health, intellectual disabilities, our Department of Aging, Cops and Home, the health department, and I know that I'm missing one. one or two, but I think that you get the picture when you understand the vulnerable people in our communities that we serve each and every day. And we have great leadership in our departments as well as great staff in our departments. And I think I saw Pat Bakovitz here earlier, and I'm sure that there's a few other of our department heads in those areas who really work very hard, dedicated every single day, day after day, to making sure that we have programs in place to help the people that we are required to help, that we must help. Coming up with really unique and interesting programs that in some instances are nationally or state or recognized throughout the state. One of them I'll share with you is our Decades to Doorways initiative. It's an initiative to prevent and end homelessness within 10 years, started in 2011, so we have a couple of years to go. But I'm proud to say that in the last 4 years, we're showing a real downward trend in the number of homeless people in Chester County. And that is due in no small way to the partnerships that our Decades to Doorways team has created, not just with folks inside our county and other departments in our county, but other stakeholders in our community, whether it's the business community, the nonprofit community. Groups like landlord groups have been really, really important to helping us address this issue, where we're no longer managing homelessness, we're actually working to prevent and end homelessness. And I'm really excited to say that the group of people who make up Decades to Doorways feel very confident that they are on track, that by 2021 we will effectively have ended homelessness in Chester County. That's a pretty big deal. And I want to thank not just the members of the Decades to Doorways group, but many of you in the room who have been a big part of that process in helping us move forward in that direction.
So the question is, how is Chester County best serving its most vulnerable and promoting health? And there are many factors that come into play here, but one of the key elements is that we actually have a health department. Not every county in the state of Pennsylvania has a health department, and that contributes to us being the healthiest county in the state, and we've been that for a couple of years now. Our health educators attend community and health-related events throughout the year to present information about Lyme disease, emergency preparedness, food safety, and flu prevention. And compared to other peer health departments in places such as Allegheny County, Erie, Montgomery County, Bucks, Chester County administers more vaccinations to more people. Our health department continues to be the primary provider of flu vaccines and even has begun to accept private insurance. As Kathy mentioned, the health department actually works with WalkWorks Chesco and has engaged thousands of citizens in starting and continuing to walk and walk more to provide the exercise necessary to be healthy. The beauty of this program is that we were the first to combine technology through a program called Walker Tracker to motivate walkers of all ages and sustain awareness and promotion of walking as a way to be more healthy. And now other communities throughout the nation are following in our footsteps, so to speak. Our health department also oversees many environmental health services, including restaurant inspections, which you can view online. You can also download an app called Chesco Connect, which will allow you to see how healthy or what the inspections were for a restaurant you're eating in. Do that before you order. One point to note regarding restaurant inspections and food safety, our health department recently began empowering minority food establishments in a collaboration with La Comunidad Hispana and Penn State Extension to provide certified food manager classes in Spanish to meet a great need to educate food staff who are not fluent in English. Michelle.
It has to take a minute,
There we go. Is that working?
eventually.
All right, I think that's working now. One of the things I just want to briefly outline to a lot of you folks in this room, which people are always astonished when they hear about the county government and helping the most vulnerable and promoting health, is we also do support a lot of nonprofits throughout Chester County. We have been very supportive of the food bank. The food bank then in turn touches a lot of organizations like for instance, the clinic in Phoenixville, the food bank comes out there and we help the clinic in Phoenixville. And those doctors are teaching through the use of fresh foods. A lot of our vulnerable population about the importance of healthy eating and preventing long-term disease. We also have, I see Glenda Bryan here. We are very supportive of the Community Warehouse, which works with a lot of our organizations to provide furnishings, especially for another organization that we help support, the Domestic Violence Center, helping people start out in new lives with their children, escaping violence, and again, working with the Community Warehouse to provide furnishings in those new apartments. But specifically, I just wanted to highlight also, and those are just a few. I could sit down with you for about 2 hours going through each and every nonprofit that the county has touched in many ways. And I think that's really important when you leave here. People understand the way that the county really works through the fabric of the community, each community, every municipality, every nonprofit. We do have 2 programs I wanted to highlight that we specifically, the county, had started. As everybody knows, there's a national mental health crisis, and it really overlaps with the prison population. And one of the programs that we have that has been recognized is something called Stepping Up. And through Stepping Up, we've worked with our Police Chiefs Association, and we've received a grant to start something called a CIT, a Crisis Intervention Team. And we train law enforcement personnel that, when they're out on the street and they come across somebody that may be committing a low-level offense, how to work with them and recognize that they have mental health issues and how to really de-escalate the situation. And instead of putting them into prison, which is a very costly placement, and they make sure that those folks get the mental health treatment that they need, and they're placed in the right type of a program. And it really, preserves their dignity, and that's important. And over the 2 years, I think we've trained 91 officers over 31 police jurisdictions. So it's really been a very successful effort in our diversion efforts. And the second program that we started at the county is something called the County Cup. And that started as a small partnership with our Department of Mental Health, Intellectual Disabilities, and the Chester County Intermediate Unit. And the very first County Cup was actually at our Government Services Building. And what it is it takes folks that have some needs, and they train them as soon as they're 14 or older to be able to work in the food services and catering facilities. And this really provides them with a life skill that they can go out when they get older. My background, before I did all this, one of my specialties was special education law, and I know that there's a huge drop-off for the services and the opportunities when folks first at 18 and then even more precipitously at 21. And the County Cup is providing really wonderful skills for folks to be able to go out and to get a job and to be able to earn income and have some dignity as they get older. And this really it started at the GSC, now we have a facility at the Delaware Valley Community College. We also have a facility at our intermediate unit, so it's really become wildly successful. We've placed a lot of people, and it's just one way that the county innovates and serves those that are needy.
Thank you. Again, going through some of the questions. We've touched on it, but perhaps each of you would like to expand a bit. One of the reasons it's a great place to live, work, and raise a family is that Chester County has great economic growth, and yet we also maintain a wonderful quality of place. If you would perhaps talk a little bit about that quality of place and maintaining that balance. So the economy's growing, yet it's a great place to live as well. And I think we'll start with Michelle on this.
All right, is this one? Oh, good. Okay. One of the things I think we had touched on a little bit before, I'm your representative for the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission, the DVRPC, and they have projected that we are the fastest growing county in the southeast region. I think Commissioner Kazan had mentioned we're going to need 88,000 more jobs, but with that, we're getting 146,000 more residents. So this is projected to occur by 2045. And, you know, one of the things is, and I think that's been our strength, is we're not just watching everybody come in and we're, you know, hoping for magic. What we're doing is we're planning. And one of the things, and like I mentioned, I am the co-chair of the Quality of Place Subcommittee for Vista 2025. And I am saying that correctly, quality of place, not quality of life. It is a very complex piece of planning to keep Chester County the way it is. And one of the reasons we have been so successful in attracting residents and businesses is because of this quality of place. This is a unique fabric that supports a diverse economy, but it also supports many of our initiatives, like our open space preservation program, which is nationally recognized. So it's a balance, and you know, we're trying to keep ahead of the DVRPC predictions, but I'll let my colleagues go into that a little bit in more detail. Commissioner Farrell?
Well, a big part of Chester County's quality of place comes from our well-established efforts to preserve our open space and our natural heritage. In a few days, Chester County will be holding an open space summit, which will be celebrating the 30th anniversary of the county referendum back in 1989 that officially started the county investment in open space preservation. And since the beginning of that program, the county has invested $215 million in open space preservation, and that has leveraged an additional $426 million from the state, from conservancies, and from private entities, which combined is well over $500 million in open space preservation. And that has led to the county having 29% of its land mass, 760 square miles in total is the land mass of Chester County, and 29% of that has been permanently preserved. That's an area larger than the size of all of Philadelphia, the entire city of Philadelphia. In fact, just last month, give it up for Philadelphia. Give it up for open space preservation. Thank you. In fact, just this past month, we invested $3.8 million in preservation, building on our long-standing efforts. At Thursday's Open Space Summit, we will also announce for the first time an assessment at what has been termed the return on environment of open space preservation in Chester County. That is the actual return on our investment in real impacts on our economy. I'll give you just a sneak preview. If you live within a half a mile of permanently preserved open space, your property is worth $11,000 more on average than property that is not that proximate to open space. As businessmen and women, you are all familiar with the concept of return on investment. So I think many of you will be quite surprised at how much real economic benefit the county and its business community is receiving as a result of successful open space preservation efforts. It's in the billions of dollars. If you can make it, I invite you to join us at the Open Space Summit at Chestland Preserve on Thursday evening, starting at 4 p.m. Kathy.
So as you can see, we take our commitment to preservation very seriously with the investment in open space. But if we're going to really follow landscapes and really make sure that we're not just preserving our open space, which has a lot to do with our quality of place and the return on investment, but that we're also making sure that growth is occurring in the areas that, as a county, we've all agreed to where those growth areas should be. And so to that end, the county has continued to make investments in our boroughs and the city since 2002 to the tune of $66 million. In fact, about $6 million of that has been specifically for the city of Coatesville. But this investment has helped position our boroughs, our urban centers like Westchester, Phoenixville, Kennett Square, even places like Avon and other boroughs to be the vibrant downtown walkable communities that they are and that they aspire to be. And those are communities that a lot of, we talked a little bit about millennials before, a lot of millennials really want to be able to live in those kinds of communities, and we can offer that here in Chester County, so they don't have to go to places like Philadelphia or Pittsburgh to have that experience. Places like the communities I mentioned earlier have significantly benefited from the investments that we've made in their communities, expanding their tax base and helping them up that way, as well as making areas like Phoenixville, Westchester, Kennett sort of examples and leaders for our other communities about how they can also grow and become similarly vibrant communities. One of the things we recently announced, in case you hadn't heard, we tried to make a big deal out of this, was SEPTA has announced that it's returning rail service to the city of Coatesville. That is huge. That's huge for the city. That's incredibly huge for the city and its ongoing revitalization efforts. And all of these efforts in our infrastructure, I think you'll see, are closely aligned with the Chamber's Grow PA focus on infrastructure as a key element of economic growth. One of the other challenges that we've had in Chester County for a very long time, we still continue to have it, but we're all working very, very diligently on solving the problem of affordable housing or workforce housing. But one of the things our investments in these communities allow us to do is to try to address those issues. So the Steeltown Village project in Phoenixville is a great example of how we've not only invested in the borough, but invested in that project specifically to help provide affordable housing in those communities like our downtowns.
Thank you. We're going to go to, because of time, we're going to go to closing comments. Before we do that, Commissioner Farrell mentioned, and I just wanted to recognize a few of the partners that not only the county works with, but we work with as we look for ways to develop the region's economy and keep it a great place to live. So I wanted to recognize Gary and Mary Beth from the CCEDC. Give a chance for a round of applause for their good work. Also wanted to recognize Joe O'Brien and the team from the Chester County Intermediate Unit, and thank you for all they do for our region. And then someone you may have worked with in the past, I know our folks in the county have, from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. We have the Special Assistant to the Secretary, Mr. Elvis Sullivan. Elvis? So with that, we're going to go to closing comments from the commissioners and invite Michelle as our board chair to kick it off. As they do that, I would ask you to, again, give me a round of applause for them for their hard work and their efforts today. Michelle?
Thank you, Guy, and thank you all for the opportunity to come out here this morning and update you on what we're doing in Chester County. I'll be brief. I think you can realize from our comments today, and for those of you that have lived here and worked here, that this is a unique place. I can't tell you enough that this is one of the last places in the region and in the Commonwealth where we have effective, good government. I think the three of us on this very small stage really believe in working for all of the citizens of Chester County, whether it's our corporate citizens to our neediest and most vulnerable. And I think that's the theme that you heard today. So it's really important for you, all of you, when you leave this room, to continue to educate, your fellow workers, your neighbors, about what a great place Chester County is, and frankly how we have worked together as a team, and we have worked not just as a government, but I think one of the unique things that we do here in Chester County is we realize the government can't do everything, and we partner with folks like the Chamber of Commerce, even the Economic Development Council, to work for solutions that are low cost, effective, and really innovative. And we have shown that. I've been a commissioner for 5 years, my colleagues for 12. And the trajectory that we have taken and will continue to take are critical for everybody here in Chester County. So thank you for your time. And as always, if anybody has any questions or things that they want to talk to any of us about, we're easy to find. Our phone numbers and our emails are on our Chester County website. So thank you.
Well, just reiterate our gratitude for all of you that are here today. I have had the great privilege of serving as one of your commissioners for 12 years, and I really do mean that. And I believe, Michelle was right on target when she talked about how hard we work together to try to do what's right in the best interest of all the people that we serve. And, we get a lot of credit for that, but the reality is that we have an amazing staff, starting with some of the people that were introduced to you earlier, at the leadership level, but particularly a lot of the boots on the ground. A lot of the people that work for the county, whether they're caseworkers or health inspectors or some of the other folks we talked about, do their job every single day with incredible commitment to the community that they serve, and they do it really well. But it's also because of the partnerships that we have, whether individually or as the county partners with different groups. So whether it's the chamber or the different nonprofits or all of the different boards that we all sit on. As I look around this room, I see so many people that I know sit on a board of a nonprofit or another organization or one of the authorities, boards, and commissions that advises the county. So the county has a lot to be thankful for. We have a lot to reinvest into our community, but I know that we can do that because when we work together, we can accomplish a great deal. So thank you all again very much for being here this morning.
Ditto. Actually, a little bit more than that. So thank you. I think one of the takeaways from this conversation here with the commissioners is that not only are we a great county, but the flip side of that, of being recipient of so many accolades, the healthiest county in the Commonwealth, the wealthiest county, the best educated, the county with the triple bond rating, the sixth happiest county, is that a lot of people want to move here. And that is overarching going to be our challenge over the next 30 years. In fact, we're going to grow from about 500,000 people in 2010 to 650,000 people in 2040. And how do we plan, how does this next Board of Commissioners plan to make sure that we maintain that quality of place, the quality of life that we enjoy? There'll be outreach from us in many different areas, so we appreciate that partnership. We need to support those who are providing services, our first responders. That's going to continue to be a challenge because the number of volunteers for our fire service and our EMS is declining. We've implemented a couple strategies. We don't really have time to go into that, but we need to keep Chester County safe. We will continue to make those investments. As you know, we've made tens of millions of dollars investment in our public safety training center out in South Coatesville, and our new radio system and our CAD system, and in so many other ways. So we have challenges going forward. Our commitment to you is that we will continue to work diligently to meet those challenges, continue to educate ourselves about the best way to do so. All three of us serve in leadership roles on our and CCAP, our County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania, so that we can bring the best that other counties are doing to Chester County. We will continue to do that, and hopefully we'll see you next year.
Thank you very much. Greatest words in the English language, I think, are thank you. So thank you all for being here. And usually when someone says thank you, it means that you did something great for me. And I'm very grateful for that. So it is really my pleasure to thank all of our sponsors today, especially the craft group, Dallas and Dale. Thank you so very much for believing in us and what we did. On your table, you will see a list of all of our sponsors. I'd love to individually thank all of you, but you're looking a little anxious. You want to get out of here, so I'm not gonna do that. But please take notice of the signs in the middle of your table and also the signs around the room that really thank all of our sponsors. We couldn't do what we do without all of you, so thank you for that. I would like to especially thank Riley Riper, and we have Matt from Riley here to speak with you for a couple minutes.
Good morning, thank you. I know everyone's anxious to get out of here this morning, so I'll be brief. As was mentioned, my name is Matt Halber. I'm an attorney at Riley Riper in the real estate group. It's great to see so many familiar faces in the audience this morning. Our firm's had the fortunate opportunity to have worked with many of you over the years, and we look forward to continuing those relationships as well as forging new ones in the years ahead. Our firm represents business developers, businesses, and individuals in all facets of real estate law, including land use, zoning, and transactional matters. We also assist clients in business, tax, and employment litigation matters throughout Chester County and the tri-state region. I would like to take a special opportunity to again congratulate this morning's award winners, thank the commissioners for their insight, and thank everyone again for their attendance. I think it's fair to say that the state of our county is strong, and given that it's nearly 10 a.m., I think the good news is that there's low risk we'll get stuck behind a yellow school bus on the way to the office. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. You can look around the room and see that we were pretty full today. Actually, this was a sellout event. And on your table, and there are also flyers on the way out for our upcoming events. So please take note of that. Thank you so much.